Hi guys! I just finished doing some cleanup in my garden and I noticed that there are so many plants that are already waking up from their winter dormancy. All of the spring bulbs are sprouting, so I figured while the garden is nice and clean, I'm gonna give you guys a quick tour to show you how the balcony looks just before the season starts. Also, there's so many things I'm excited about, so many things I'm looking forward to, so let me show you all of that. So since there's a handful of new people who have recently subscribed to my channel, if you're new here, hello, welcome to my channel, welcome to my garden. So if you're not familiar with my balcony, this is how it looks, the whole balcony. And as you can see, it's pretty long and quite narrow. It's about 13 meters long and 1.3 meters wide. And as you can see, I created a sort of curved pathway, and that's funny, that's something I always laugh about. You know, one of the first things they teach you at garden design is to never make a pathway in a narrow space, but that's precisely what I did on my balcony. But I feel like it gives it a bit more dimension, makes it look a little bit more interesting. So, let's go. So this is the back of the balcony. Not really much to see here, just a whole bunch of dormant perennials and dormant shrubs. I call this part my veggie garden because I have some blueberry bushes in here, some alpine strawberries, some herbs and stuff like that. But I will transform it in summer because, as you can see over here, I have my galvanized buckets. Currently I have tulip and daffodil bulbs in them, but I would like to place those buckets over there to create a proper veggie garden and to grow my veggies in these galvanized buckets. And then over there you see a climbing rose, and this rose will go on this side of the bench, and then on the other side of the bench we have a clematis. So the goal is that this clematis meets this climbing rose somewhere in the middle. So I want to create sort of an arch above this bench, and both clematis and rose are new plants that I bought just recently, so I'm really excited to see them grow. And on the bench here we have all of those tiny spring flowering bulbs. I shared with you in one of my videos in the fall a couple of ideas on very small spring flowering bulbs that are also very winter hardy. So if you have never tried growing bulbs on your balcony, or if you live in a very cold climate and something like tulips or hyacinths doesn't work for you, you can check out that video for some ideas for next year, because all of these bulbs should survive even in the coldest of climates. And as you can see, they all started to sprout already. Some of them are early bloomers, some are mid to late spring bloomers, so pretty soon it's gonna be a really lovely flower show here. And before we go any further, I also want to give you a quick look on the railing planters. So in the railing planters we have forget-me-nots, two different kinds, pink and blue. And we also have pansies rococo. I grew all of these plants from seeds. And pansies, they're a little bit on late this year. Usually by mid-February I have some blooms already, and this year there are only a couple of them that started to produce flower buds, but they look healthy. So I think that once the weather warms up and there is finally some sun reaching this balcony, they should start to produce some lovely colorful flowers. As I move forward, another small grouping of plants here with ivy topiary, evergreen fern, and a basket on the floor with a couple of spring bulbs. But what I'm most excited about here is this plant. This is Passiflora Ea Popea, a beautiful climbing plant for part shade balcony. I bought it last fall and I shared with you in a video when I planted it, and if you remember, I was a little bit disappointed because the plant came well, looking like this, completely bare, without any foliage, with red spider mites and aphids on it. So you know, that's really disappointing when you receive a plant that is sick. But I wanted to give it a fair chance, and look at this. There is some new growth appearing all along the plant, so that is so great to see. It means the plant is bouncing back, and I'm really looking forward to see it bloom this year. And to my surprise, my scabiosa did not go dormant this year. What more, it even produced flowers all throughout the winter. That's kind of unusual, and especially that winter was very, very cold this year. So we have already a little lovely scabiosa flower. On the table here we have my planter with arch that I created out of ivy. I shared with you last spring, I think, a composition with this ivy and primroses. It didn't look like much because the ivy was still very small, but now the ivy grew on top of that arch, and I planted some colorful spring bulbs under. I think I planted a mix of crocus and irises here. They are sprouting, but no blooms yet. Okay, so we are arriving to the second part, the second half of the balcony. On the floor here I have 4 bulb lasagnas. I planted 3 different types of bulbs. I'm gonna show you pictures on the screen. We have some tulips, we have irises and crocuses. So here again, everything is sprouting but no blooms yet. And on the other side here we have a hydrangea that is starting to leaf out, a little sedum on the floor, heuchera, hellebore, another heuchera and ornamental grass, and again a couple of containers with spring bulbs. I planted hundreds of spring bulbs, I always do, I just can't help myself, but they look so beautiful and so cheerful in the spring. Okay, we have arrived to the other end of the balcony, and one plant that I'm really excited about in here is this up above me, Clematis montana Meilin. Already last spring it was like half this size and it bloomed so beautifully. It was just covered, the wall was covered with pink flowers. So seeing how much it's grown since last year, if it blooms this year as beautifully as it bloomed last year, this is just gonna be magnificent. I am so looking forward to see it bloom. But other than that, we have a couple of evergreen plants, my bay laurel topiary, below some ornamental grass, Euonymus fortunii. And over there we have my new hydrangea. This is also one of the new plants I planted last fall. This is a hydrangea arborescens from Bella Largazza series, which is a series of very short hydrangeas. They only grow about 50 centimeters tall and wide. So I'm looking forward to see it bloom this summer. And back there on the floor, just a grouping of dormant perennials. That's funny because in summer this area is just so lush with green foliage, and right now it looks pretty bare. But on the floor we have yet another hellebore. This one blooms usually in December already, so it blooms December through February, and the other one I showed you, this is more of a spring flowering hellebore. So that's nice to have 2 different kinds, because when this one is, as you can see, pretty much done blooming, the other one picks up. I never deadhead my hellebores because I really like the look of spent blooms, and I like when the seed heads start to develop. I think that looks really unique. Just an ornamental grass, Carex Evergold, and as you can see, my Brunnera, variegated Brunnera, starts to wake up already. I really like this plant. It has very tiny blue flowers in the spring. They kind of look like forget-me-nots. I also brought one foxglove in here. I planted way too many foxgloves from seeds. Now I don't know what to do with them. I don't have space for them, so I try to plant them at least in some temporary plastic pots and just, you know, tuck them in between other pots to have a pop of color in late spring, early summer. And above all of these plants, yet another Japanese maple. This one is called Orange Dream. I love how it's chartreusey green, chartreusey yellow in the spring, then it transforms into green in summer, and then it has beautiful orange color in the fall. Okay, so this is how the balcony looks mid-February. Spring seems to be just around the corner, and I am so looking forward to seeing all of those spring bulbs in bloom, and cannot wait to give you some updates as the season progresses. So I hope that you guys enjoyed taking this little walk with me on my balcony today. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see each other in the next video.